what is the difference between rem and m, and why do we use them? Rem, it's a unit where the font size changes according to, not just font size, the size changes according to the root font size or HTML font size. It's called as root m. Okay, m is the font size or the size changes according to the parent's font size. Okay, that's the simplest explanation that we can give. Let's go on and look at the code. So this is a sample HTML example that we have built. Okay, so for the body tag, okay, for the HTML tag, I have given the font size as 32 pixels. This is the root tag for us. Okay, so the next tag that we have to look at is the h1 tag. Okay, here for the h1 tag or the h2 tag, sorry, for the h2 tag I have given font size as 1 rem. So rem is the root font size. So for us the root is HTML, so the font size is 32 pixel. For h2 the font size should have to be 32 pixel. Okay, let's go ahead and refresh this page and see what happens. Okay, so this is the tag for which we have given it as 1 rem. So its font size has to be 1 rem, which is 32 pixel. So it is taking the root font size. Okay, for the next p tag, if you look at this, so this is how rem works. For this tag, what I have done is I have given it as 0.5 rem. So it has to it will take the font size as half of the root. So it has to be 32 divided by 2, that is 16 pixels. Okay, so this is how rem works. Whereas for m, the same thing happens but with respect to its parent. Okay, so there is a div which I have created, for which I have given class name as parent. Okay, there is a parent tag, okay, for which I have given font size as 20 pixel, and there is a child tag for which I have given font size as 1m. So instead of taking from the root, it has to take it from the parent. Okay, so parent font size is 20 pixel, so it is taking the same as parent, so its font size is 20 pixel. So take an example of button. Okay, for this button I am given font size as 1m, so it is taking the same font size as parent. One thing you have to also keep in mind is it's not just the font sizes that we can give, we can even use paddings. So for this, depending upon the parent font size, we can even change the padding. Okay, so if I go change its font size to 30, if I change the padding to 30 pixel, if you see this button's padding is also getting increased. It is getting increased. Okay, it's with respect to it. So the final question that you have in mind is, why do we use this rem, m and everything? Okay, so what I can say is we can just ignore m for this moment. So that's what I have written here. So you can ignore m. Rem is good enough. So then still, if you have a question like why do we use rem, so it is like one place change for all the font size. Say for example, take example, so if we come back and if we just change the font size of this to say 20 pixel, if I come back and change the root font size to 20 pixel, so the rest of the font size or rest of the sizes actually gets adjusted. So this is one place change can affect everywhere kind of a thing. It's a centralized control thing. So we use rem and m for centralized control basically. So why do we use it? As I told you, say just for example, you build an application, you show it to a client, and the client says, can you just reduce the font size? Can you reduce the size of the application by say 1 pixel, 2 pixel? Can you reduce it a bit? So instead of, if you have written pixel everywhere, you have to go change it everywhere. But if you have written it with rem, it's like you change it at one place and it gets reoriented automatically.